But you just mentioned resonance as well. So we've been talking about frequency in this episode. What exactly is the resonance when it comes to PEMF?
Well, resonance is it's kind of like an energetic handshake in a way. I mean, so resonance is, transferring energy from one system to another through a particular frequency or wave. And it can be, you can have electromagnetic resonance, you can have this is more acoustic or mechanical type of resonance. Um, the human body has, there are studies. We know I have some charts and some of my videos and stuff where I show different tissues and different resonances. Um, so it is important. And of course, for me, the tuning fork is always the easiest way. I don't I wish I had another I didn't have a matching set, but if I had this same tuning fork and I rang it, it would transfer the energy to this and they would both be ringing. So that's like
Mm.
an a resonant energy transfer. Radio transmission from a radio station, to a radio, that's through resonance. So there's lots of examples of resonance. And and like I said, magnetic resonance is one of the ways that PMF can transfer energy wirelessly. So, but because there are so many, like resonance is based on the material and the geometry of a system. So the resonance of this is not just based on the shape, but it's based on how the stiffness and how hard it is.
Mm.
So in the body, the cells have, there's different elasticities, there's different structures. So there's all kinds of different resonant frequencies throughout the human body.
Hmm.
And it seems I don't want to get there's a lot to say on this, and there's actually no super strong consensus on exactly what resonant frequencies, because everybody's so different, right? So you can
Mm.
have one person, that might have different resonant frequencies than another, even though we all have kind of the same organs. And so, so yeah,
Yes.
I just like to think in terms of, having, and when you have a broad spectrum of frequencies, you can, you can kind of transfer a bunch of different resonant frequencies all at once, and all the different, tissue cells, molecular reactions in your body will kind of ring when you have a really good signal. Where if you just have one, like a sine wave, you only have one frequency to resonate with.
Hmm.
So, it's like that. It's really just it's a way to wirelessly transfer energy when you have like a matching. And the interesting thing about resonance is you can transfer energy wirelessly with a very low intensity through magnetic resonance. In fact, I think what is it, the Pioneer 10 that when it got outside the solar system was, how many billions of, trillion miles away, whatever it was, outside of Pluto's orbit with a 5-watt transmitter through resonance, we were able to pick up a signal from that pi. So that just shows you how, and that's all, think of like a 5 or 10 watt light bulb. That's a very dim light. So
Hmm.
it's amazing that we could pick up a signal from such a weak electromagnetic wave so far away, but that's the power of resonance. So
Hmm.
it's because a precise frequency, the NASA deep space telescopes, they were able to pick that up. They locked into that very precise frequency, and they were able to pick up the signal, which is pretty amazing, actually. So resonance is powerful, but and like I said, this is why low intensity, why even a picotesla PMF device can work. Like I had
Hmm.
this big what is it called, magnosphere system for a while to test out, and it had 6-foot coils on each side of me, and it was using picotesla intensities. Picotesla, that's a trillionth of a Tesla. We talk
Mm.
about, millitesla and microtesla, but then there's nanotesla and picotesla, even further down. So again, that shows you that even with a super low intensity, you can have through resonance, you can have an effect.
Mm.
But again, why I like the high slew rate is that in addition to the resonance transfer of energy, you get the actual induced energy, which actually creates physical little microcurrents. Again, through induction, you can stimulate microcurrents. That's why I call PM really good high slew rate PMF 3D microcurrent therapy, because it's
Mhm.
giving you not only microcurrents on your skin. See, microcurrent therapy, like E-stim and TENS, it doesn't necessarily penetrate that well, and it only covers a little tiny area. But
Mhm.
with PMF, we can cover the whole volume of the body if we have a good layout of coils and a good slew rate, and get that most microcurrents going all throughout.
Mhm.
So, so it's just, I mean, I like the term energetic handshake is kind of an easy way to explain resonance because when you have two systems at the same resonant frequency, they can kind of communicate and connect with each other, right? Like a radio wave is a another easy example. Um, so the PMF coils are the antenna of the PMF device, like a radio transmitter, are transmitting a signal to your tissues, which are all the you can think of the cell receptors, a little antenna, and whatever frequency resonances those have, the systems in our body can pick up those
Mhm.
frequencies, right?
Yeah, and when talking about resonant frequencies, how established are they when it comes to, how scientifically established are they compared to a theoretical model? Is there a lot of science and data behind this?
Yeah, I mean, I want to take a deeper dive in this. I mean, there are studies. I mean, I've got this chart. I can send. I think you've seen it probably. It actually comes from James Oshman's book on energy medicine, and he's got a chart where he talks about like bone growth, ligament, cell growth, osteogenesis, different frequencies. So some of these studies have shown that it seems that these frequencies do resonate with these different tissues, but it's not but like you found out just as I have, there's a lot of conflicting information on what frequencies are good for what tissues for what conditions. So I
Mhm.
haven't been able to see any really really strong, cohesive, unanimous sort of list of frequencies where everybody's agreeing upon, okay, this frequency is good for this tissue. I just haven't seen that.
Mm.
But that doesn't mean that there's not research to show that different systems have different frequencies. It's just not very unanimous. Like you'd think that if these conditions or these tissues really had this frequency, everybody would be like locked into, okay, let's do this frequency, you know. But like I said, that's more of a sine wave approach anyway. Because again, if you're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
talking about the frequency, and that's the other problem, is a lot of the studies that report frequency, some of them are using like square wave, triangle waves. They're not using simple sine waves. So they're really using the repetition rate as what they're listing. And they're not even necessarily listing the spectral content, which may have been the frequencies that really were doing the job, or like the slew rate, right?
Mm.
So because again, the slew rate and spectral content are kind of married as far as like the high or the rise time, I should say. So the higher the slew rate, the faster the rise time, the more frequencies you get.
Mhm.
You're going to have better resonant effects if you have a broader spectrum of frequencies, right?
Yeah. So just to summarize these two areas, you said that low intensity systems tend to rely on resonance, whereas medium intensity, high slew rate systems induce stronger microcurrents. So,
Well, no. The slew rate systems also you have resonance. They have. That's why I say it's the best
okay.
of both worlds. So I'm
Mhm.
saying that the low intensity only has No, I'm not going to say only. I mean, like we measured the slew rates on some of the sawtooth systems, and they had like maybe 1 Tesla per second or 1.5. They still have a slew rate, and they still are transferring some energy and some inducing some microcurrents, but it's just much weaker,
Mm.
right? So it's not. This is not all or nothing. Um, but especially when you get like in that system I was telling you about, the picotesla system, that's going to be totally relying on resonance, because with picotesla intensities, you're going to get a negligible slew rate. I mean,
Mhm.
just almost non-existent slew rate with that, but you're still getting effects from pure magnetic resonance.
Mhm.
With a high slew rate, you get the best of both worlds because you're getting a broad spectrum of frequencies and you're getting that induced microcurrent, both. So
Mhm.
that's why I tell people there's really no reason to go for a low intensity PMF system. Because the medium intensity high slew rate pretty much covers everything. You're getting, and even if you're a sensitive individual, you can start with a low and slow protocol by doing the lowest intensity, for 5 minutes a day on a medium intensity system, right? So you don't, even if you're really chemically sensitive, you don't need a low intensity even in that situation. So I honestly can't think of any reason to invest in a low intensity PMF system anymore.
Okay, so would it be fair to say that low intensity is more for like relaxation and balance, so to speak, and like medium intensity is more for performance recovery and healing? Is that accurate or?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good way to put it. I would also say that medium intensity is good for relaxation as well. So again, when
Hmm.
you have the repetition rates that are the relaxing repetition rate frequencies, I mean, I use medium intensity system to go to sleep at night when I'm having trouble sleeping. It works like a charm. So
Hmm.
I mean, again, I think you get the best of both worlds with medium intensity. When you have, and again, you do want a good range of I mean, frequency again. If you have a medium intensity and you only have 0 to 5 hertz as your frequency options, that wouldn't be great. But what I've found is that most systems have a pretty good range of frequencies to select from. So I haven't found that the frequency options are the problem. What I found is the problem with most devices is their coils are too small. Like for I don't want to name names, but the mats are sometimes just too short, or too narrow, too short, coils too small, and the slew rates are just too low. They're not transferred. They're not really getting enough energy into the body. Um,
Hmm.
because I really feel you want to get those induced microcurrents going and to levels that are native and natural to the body, not too much. But, um, but yeah, I think in general, the low intensity systems are good for relaxation and sleep and things like that. They can, but I think medium intensity does that too, just to be clear.
Yeah. Okay. But you get the additional side of healing and that sort of thing when you're looking at a medium intensity. So it's better had to have a little bit more than the super low intensities. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, again, you're going to get healing with the low intensity. So remember, you're still going to get some slew rate. It's just less.
Mm.
And when you relax the body, remember the relaxation response. A good low intensity that relaxes you. You heal better when you're relaxed. So
Yeah. Sure.
but I just think you get, especially what I've seen with medium intensity, high slew rate, promoting, mainly the magnetic magic, a little bit the accelerate, the last year. Really when I made that transition with last year, I was just
Hmm.
seeing people, especially that were in pain or had inflammatory conditions. It just works better. Any type of like arthritis, pain, injuries. That's where I really saw that medium intensity was working better than low intensity. And
Hmm.
and again, other areas too, but that was the real and on myself too, because I had a car accident. So I was able to put it to the test when I had that car accident on my hand and my ribs. So so I could just see that for healing, the medium intensity was working better. The high slew rate was working better than the low
Hmm.
intensity systems. And
Okay.
that's probably the number one reason people buy PMF is for some form of pain or injury or arthritis, back pain, neck pain. At least that's my experience, even though
Hmm.
PMF does so much more.